Ah, Paris, a wonderful city of love. And today we're going to take our Lttb, our little loving light tank, and take it down a stroll through the streets of Paris just to see what we can find and maybe dole out a little bit of love with our gun. Welcome back, noobs, and today we're going to go ahead and play a little bit of light scout tanking on Paris and try to figure out just how to break the map a little bit if we can, and also more than anything else, have just a little bit of fun. So as we start off right away, still playing my Lttb, not the best tank for scouting all the time just due to some of its values compared to others, but it'll get the job done here. And I'm going to go ahead and go out where I start a lot of times in this map when I'm in a light tank, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to actually scout. And I do a noob thing here. I jump up and I pop the bush down. Not exactly what I should be doing. So I'm trying to see anything on Scorpion G, which isn't likely. And then I want to pause just here for a second. Because I moved over to the left after I knocked that tree down in case somebody's ready to blind fire, I'd actually position this crane in between me and the most important corner for me to watch. And because of that, you're going to see that I'm going to go ahead and reposition here. And you do have to be careful when you're on this side of the map. That crane does create a pretty bad blind spot for you to be able to spot any of the tanks going from here out to this berm. So you do have to kind of hug to the right of this berm a little bit more. Now, Progetto 46, not having any targets to hit right away, is going to go ahead and flank out into the field there a little bit. He happens to spot this Conqueror, and I know he's spotting it because I don't get any spotting assist from it. And I don't have a shot. I'm only 50-50 to kind of go through that armor, so I'm not going to bother to pull the trigger. And that's assuming I hit a weaker spot. And now we see these medium tanks are going to rush up into this plaza here. And as they come up, I'm looking for shots and really deciding if I should. And then I see the one shot on the Lorraine 40T. And because he is such a valuable tank, I decide I'm going to take that shot. Now, notice that Pantera gets hit by Artie. You are not already safe out here. And if you're watching what's happening in the plaza, they're getting farmed out there. And I want to take a second. I'm going to stop the video here and jump over to a larger map because I want to explain why these medium tanks, when they pushed out there, got destroyed so quickly. So let's jump over to Watt Tactics and take a look at what's going on there. So I've jumped over to Watt Tactics. I'll link the website in the description below. And this is just one place you can go to kind of get the maps from the game and draw out some of the strats that you see or think about how you're going to attack certain positions. So on this, what I've done is I've gone ahead and drawn in my initial route to my spotting position. I've also placed in typical locations that I'll find different enemy classes. For example, back in the A0 line, we have Artie, who's usually there. Why they don't get countered more, I don't really know. We usually have a medium or two sitting over in this area. A lot of times a TD sitting back here or possibly over on these little berms. Some sort of little sniper sitting in this bush here. A lot of times a TD could be a medium, could be a light, doesn't really matter. And then we usually have a TD watching this lane here. In this case, we had those mediums push up, and those possibly light tanks as well push up into this little plaza here. And I want to show you why they end up getting farmed so quickly. So starting off just looking at our positions that we had at the time when they went in there, we had this TD sitting here. And if we go ahead and look at the angle that this TD has, this TD is going to be able to effectively shoot everything in an arc down this lane just about like this. So he's going to be able to hit this corner if they back up into it. What was really important here is this T44. And I think the T44 is the one who does a large amount of damage here, and anybody else who's supporting that angle. Because from this position, he has all this right side of the plaza. And then from where we are at out here on the berm, we can start to cover this other side of the plaza. And obviously I can shoot this entire field if I need to, but there's only really a very small segment here that they could back into and be able to support. Now we did have, I believe, an E50M down on this corner where I have the enemy heavy tanks normally at. I don't know if he would actually have shots up here because this is a pretty sloped street, but he may be able to shoot up this. And if he's up on the bridge, he definitely can shoot down this and also farm this entire plaza. And I also have to remember that at this time, we also had the Progetto out here who would have angles into the plaza like so as well. Although he's also shooting up from that position, so he may not have very good shots. But regardless, these mediums in this case, because of how the deployment worked out, just went into a giant kill box. And that doesn't include the fact that we have Artie in the A1 line, A1 blocks that are simply farming this as well. So this is where these mediums, while this is often a good play to break the field, because it was so covered by overlapping fire, they simply got evaporated. And for us, it was good deployment and somewhat random, lucky deployment, but it worked out well. So let's jump back to the game. So we're back in the game. Go ahead, get it going again. Spot the TVP sneaking out across. I'm looking just at some shots on him, hoping he's going to pop back here. He is still lit. He probably should have waited a second to pop out there. Take a bad shot on my part, but that's okay. I'm getting farming damage from all the spotting. So I very quickly racked up about 1,700 spotting assists just from this position. I've only done 95 actual damage. Take a shot into that bush, and part of that is because I don't have Sixth Sense. I'm trying to scout by firing, which is I'm going to shoot there and see if somebody shoots back. It's not a great way to scout, but it can be effective if you're playing with somebody who is willing to take some bad shots, kind of like I am. So now I'm going to go ahead and push up into the plaza here, looking to see if the T-54 lightweight still happens to be here. Try to get a shot on the T-32, but our team takes him out too quickly. And now it is continuing to work across the plaza here. You do have to be aware of that when you're making this move, you do not have cover from anybody to your north there. Get into the wall as best I can. And you can actually wedge yourself in here at a fairly nice angle that can make it hard for them to get shots on your front. I do see Artie is signaling that, so I would like to be able to respot that, so I'm going to take some risky plays here to try to relight this guy, because I can't really move without much without being hit at this point. Now my support, my Pantera, my Object 268, they chose to go around the plaza and come from the back side. So I do have to kind of just be patient here. And this leopard decides to push me. So I'm now going to have to get aggressive, try to get around him. I see Artie is calling for the shot. So I don't want to just run away here. I don't want to encourage him to chase out of Artie's arc of fire. So I'm going to try to just hold this corner. I'm going to try to trade the best I can. Since he had shot me, I might as well shoot him back. Okay, I take a second here to ask Artie to call his load timer. And I actually missed the fact that he'd called 19 seconds there when I was playing. But the other one calls as well. And that just tells me how patient I need to be. And if the tank were to go dark, if you got outside my proxy spotting range, I could actually then go ahead and spot him. And if I take a shot, I'm feeling okay about it if my Arties are both up and loaded and ready to shoot. So now it comes down to an Artie hunt. The Pantera got onto it a little faster than I did, so I go ahead and load HE. It's probably not necessary, and I don't do a lot more damage with HE than I do with my normal gun or normal AP rounds. But with the HE, I tend to do that a little bit more. and got a nice little bonus at the end. And this is just one way to scout Paris. You know, there's not a right or wrong way necessarily to scout Paris. We do need a good distribution of tanks. In this case, we had nice support from the south and the north, which made this a lot more of an effective map. They never got anybody really out into the field to scout us, which allowed us to push across that north fairly easily and for free for the most part. And the result just worked out for itself. Okay, one thing I want to point out here, there was nothing great about the gameplay I did. It is very easy to replicate this type of gameplay. You know, I got fortunate with the damage at the end of the game because I had a couple arty that I could shoot. You know, otherwise my damage would have been pretty mediocre. The spotting, I just happened to have a lot of tanks that were in the right spot to shoot for me. And that's the hard thing when you're trying to rely on spotting. It's feast or famine. I have lots of games. I go in that same position and I get maybe 500 spotting assist because either I don't have people backing me up to shoot or there's just not enough targets there to shoot. So when you look at this, take the result as with a little bit of grain of salt, but otherwise, if you're playing a light tank and you're not sure what to do in Paris, maybe you haven't played it a whole lot or you're just getting used to a light tank, jump out, try to spot. Okay, I don't have the world's greatest crew on this. Make sure you do have camouflage on your tank. And most light tanks can get into that bush for free. If you fire your gun from there though, realize you are spotted. Doesn't matter if your 6th sense went off or not, and you are going to be killed if you stay there. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you would hit a subscribe or a like if you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate it. And for the most part, I just hope you are having a great day and enjoyed the video. As always, good luck tankers, and have some fun in the game.